photographic paper. It encourages creative engagement with photographic materials. It also combines intuitive experiment with darkroom chemistry. Now let us look back to the historical background of this process. We get this image as the first ever documented chemigram-like image. I repeat, chemigram-like, not a chemigram. It's chemigram-like image. It is an early experiment by John Slade in 1725, and after that Hippolyte Bayer in 1839. We also have some chemigram-like image. Now Pierre Cordier. Okay, he is considered as the father of chemigram, or maybe the inventor of chemigram. He is the first person who adopted the name also, chemigram, in 1958. Influenced by earlier experiment, he formalized chemigram practice in 1956 by some basic painting material with combination with photographic chemistry. This is the first ever successful chemigram image made by him. Now, here I will say a word which sounds pretty similar to chemigram, that is chemogram. Even though these two are similar in pronunciation, there is a slight difference in the process. Let's discuss this with the definition. Chemigram versus chemogram. Chemigram is a chemical-based abstraction, whereas chemogram is a photographic exposure combines with chemical intervention. I think it will be easy to understand this difference with a comparison table. So let's see this. Comparison between chemigram and chemogram. In aspects of camera, chemigram is a camera-less process, whereas chemogram needs camera or enlarger. In light aspects may be done, this chemigram may be done in room light, but for chemogram, a controlled exposure at first is a must. In process, chemigram is basically chemical and resist based, whereas chemogram is a combination of exposure with chemical reaction. In outcome, it also differs slightly. In chemigram, we will get only the abstract-like image, and in chemogram, it may be a hybrid image with abstract and representational value. Next, it's a very big question and very important question to ask, that can we consider chemigram as photography? Well, we know that photography means something to draw with light or photo. So, in this process also, I need light to create something on photographic paper. So, I can consider chemigram as photography in these aspects. Next, let's go deeper with the methodology overview. Chemigram works by chemical reaction between light-sensitive photographic paper and photographic chemicals. When chemicals touch the paper, they react with silver salt, causing areas to darken or lighten, and also at the applied resist slow down the development. By controlling how chemicals react or resist, mix or are blocked, artist creates pattern and texture without using camera. Now here I have used a word, resist. What is that? Resist here in chemigram process is a material or substances applied to photographic paper to block or slow down the chemical process. Common resists include butter, honey, syrup, varnish, masking tape, face mask, cream, ghee, wax, oil, glue, and many more. Now coming back to the main method, we can classify this chemigram process broadly in two types. First is by process and second is by background. By process can be further classified in two sections on fresh unexposed paper or on aged or exposed paper. By background, it can also be classified in two more sections. One is positive chemigram with white background and negative chemigram with black background. Let's move to the experiments. First type of chemigram by process on fresh paper. This is one of my experiments. This experiment explores an abstract night-like space showing isolation and transformation. Unexposed paper was partially developed. Use of masking tape and fixer as resist and strong contrast and accidental forms added depth and meaning to the image. Some additional experiments on unexposed paper by me. Some of these are my experiment. The variation is done using a different type of masking tape, glass object and selective fixer application. Now, the another section of by process chemigram on aged or exposed paper. This is one of my favorite experiments. This experiment is a painterly portrait showing inner tension instead of physical appearance. Exposed paper and face mask screen were used as resist with free gesture. The final image suggests movement, emotional unrest. Some more additional experiment on exposed paper. One of these is my handprint chemigram. This work focuses on human presence through a hand paint. Heat was applied on hand as resist, take an impression on photographic paper and then developed under room light. The white hand against darkness acts as a mark of existence. Now move to the another type of chemigram, that is by background. There are three sections: positive chemigram, negative chemigram and sometimes sequence dependent outcome. This is one of my experiments with positive chemigram, which is on white background. This is another experiment from my darkroom. This is negative chemigram with black background. Okay, let's discuss what we have learned till now, that is the learning outcome. We already learned that these processes need patience, attentiveness, responsiveness and most importantly acceptance of unpredictability. It is a big unpredictable method and unrepeatable also. Now in chemigram there are some factors on which the patterns are dependent that maybe we can control with this knowledge. Paper type, resist thickness, chemical concentration, light exposure and method of application of resist. Let's have a look in this in a tabular form. Here is the factor and there is the influence of that factor on our chemigram process. Like other experiments, this process or method also have some advantages and as well as some limitations. So let's discuss these advantages and limitations. Here in the left side there is advantages that it is a cameraless process. It allows us to create something in full light. It gives us creative freedom and also gives us a singular result. But there are some limitations also, that is unpredictability, impossible to replicate, need very careful handling of chemicals and nowadays we face that scarcity of photographic paper. Since this is a chemical based process, we must take some safety measures also. So let's have a look. It's need proper ventilation, use of gloves and careful handling of photographic chemicals. let's come to the conclusion. Here I also discuss the scope of this process. Chemigram endures as an intuitive, experimental and materially rich photographic practices. It has a promising future in experimental art, art science education, sustainable photography, digital design, which includes texture and hybrid, and therapeutic or creative learning. To conclude today's presentation, I must say that there is lots of opportunity to work and experiment in this method. I worked on it as much as I could and tried to give you an idea based on that. The more work will be done in this way, the more interesting result we will get. This method is quite unpredictable and unrepeatable. So even if you follow my process, you may not always get the same result as mine. However, I would like to request everyone present here to work on this topic and give us a chance to see some outstanding work. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Ghosh, for your very well organized and very interesting topic. And I hope there will be quite a few people, delegates, who will be interested to exchange some views with Ms. Ghosh. So please stand up and put forward your question. So what was, please stand up. Please tell your name first.
Join Kolkata from PID. My question, this is not actually a question that I am discussing, that you have done everything in monochrome or rather black and white. The tonal gradation, so far as I observed, there is no such tonal gradation were achieved. Can you tell me, is there any process so that you can get different tonal grade? Number one. Number two, this can it be tried in color? Because as I have seen, the first time I have seen this, so this is really interesting. So what I thought that if you can implement some color, control color or dilution of color, it would be more interesting. Thank you.
Yes, sure. I think, and I read about that. It can be possible in color also, but I have limitations with this because I don't have color paper and color chemicals. So otherwise, it can be done in color method also. And about the tonal gradation, maximum photograph I have shown is in strong contrast. So yes, you can make the tonal gradation by applying the resist or the material that way, so that you can get the tonal gradation gray, different shades of
What
it.
experimenting have to do?
Yeah, I have to also do that. Yes, thank you.
Hello, I've got one question for you.
Mr. Simon Hill.
Simon Hill.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. Have you thought? You mentioned towards the end that there was a scarcity of photographic paper. Have you thought about making your own photographic emulsion and painting that onto different substrates like linen or paper or wood or stone and applying the same program or process to that material?
Yes, we can do that, but for that I need the emulsion chemistry to be implemented, and that is not possible in our room environment, I think.
I could become the supplier of liquid emulsion to India. We must speak up this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hill, for your encouraging the young scientists, I would rather say, for developing certain method of creating creative photography. Thank you. Anybody?
Microphone.
Mr. Shambhu Das.
Yes, it's Steve Ruba for Mauritius. Not question at all.
Excuse me. Please tell your name.
Steve Dubois from Mauritius.
Thank you.
I'm not asking questions, I'll just say my appreciation. This is something I've been interested quite for many years. We've done similar works and adding these kind of manipulations together with photograms and then painting in color on that.
Yeah.
So we can, as just gentleman suggested, if we don't have color chemicals, color paper, we can add.
Some color.
Yeah. In fact, we don't need special colors. I use food coloring and it works well. And yeah, some other thing I wanted to say. About the tonal gradations, I think if we work along the exposure time, we can get the gray from log to dark. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, I think Ms. Ghosh is fortunate enough in having quite a few supporters or material providers to encourage her in developing this subject further. Anybody? So I think this is all about this session, about this lecture. So I request Ms. Ghosh to take your seat. Thank you very much for your talk.